All right, so we're live on Facebook now. Hey, Jed. Got 6 or 7 people in the Zoom room. We've got Facebook going now. If these shows resonate with you, please share. I'm not in the, I'm not on the camera. I'm over here. This is Aaron Pearson down here and Joshua Pearson right here. And way over there in the background is Melissa and Morgan. So what we thought we'd do tonight, well, let me just read the text from the post. SoulogyOne, chilling out by the fire. Aaron Pearson, Joshua Pearson, Todd, Medina, and whoever decides to get bold, Melissa Chapman. This is the ascension, and the highest activations, channelings, and transmissions and downloads come from when we just sit down and have a conversation. Peace, power, protection, big ass motherfucking love. And I don't care if I use the F word because I mean it from my heart. So everybody just chill out. We're going to have a good time. And we're just going to talk about things. And if anybody has any questions or anything they want to say, just put it up there. We'll see if we can get to it. Happy holidays, everybody. Hanukkah, whatever you call it. Christmas, Christmas, Christ consciousness, whatever the African one is, and all the other, Aboriginal and primitive cultures that seeded us. And that includes the galactic and the angelic and all that other stuff, right? So we're just going to have a little conversation and kick it around a little bit. This microphone is the talking stick. So this microphone is the new talking stick in the new age, the 5D, whatever you want to call it. So I wanted to start with this. We got Todd Medina here, and I'm like, 39? Joshua Pearson's 27, and Aaron Pearson, he's old as hell. So is there an ascension? I mean, forget all the stuff we've read or whatever. Is something going on in this world? Like if you got no intel outside of yourself and it all came from within yourself, like your own personal experience, is there an ascension happening? And what the fuck is it? Josh is first. Age before beauty.
Just going off of the information that I know that I've received, that's been pretty much my entire experience already. I mean, yeah, I've done some research online to correlate information, but I haven't really paid any attention to any of the newer stuff that's been coming out lately. I mainly focused on studying the religions and ideals that were as old as I could find. But there is definitely something going on, even just going off of like your internal, the information that you receive and what you feel. And that's common even throughout people that don't practice, that don't watch this stuff and don't actively search for this information. I've had conversations lately with people like that, and they're saying they're starting to experience these strange things as well. So there's definitely something going on. As far as what it is, I couldn't really say for sure, but there's some kind of, it seems like some kind of like awakening to our true potential. Humans are starting to realize what they are truly capable of. And that's, to me, that's what it seems like.
Right on. That's a 27-year-old ET that's in a human body. Then we got an old country ass over here. My brother. He's the closest masculine to me, and I've only known him 4 years. But that's what it's all about. You know, the soul family coming together, everything's congealing. It's a beautiful thing. This is Aaron Pearson. He's also the brilliant mind behind what's going to be an independent stream, independent server, independent all the way, sovereign, fuck the matrix kind of thing. A network that allows every voice in this world to have an opportunity to have a channel and to speak to the world and to express themselves. It's called Soulogy Network, SoulogyOne, Soulogy.tv. I don't know what the hell it's called. We've gone through so many names, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it. Anyway, Aaron, the question is, if you just take only your personal experience in 106 years, I'm sorry, 109 years, do you feel like there's an ascension happen? Do you feel like there's a, I don't know, once in a lifetime, once in lifetimes, once in a millennium, whatever thing happening, biblical?
I'd most definitely say, I guess, that there is, yes. Uh, we're in a place in this universe that we've never been ever before. And the energy, I believe it has everything to do with the energy in where we're at the moment. And we're slowly but surely being reprogrammed. Uh, I think the ascension itself, it's individual, but it's also a group thing, if it makes any sense. Uh, I think all of us are in different positions at this point in time. We're all experiencing different things. You know, we have some common experiences, but we're also experiencing different things. And, you know, from my standpoint and the way I was raised, you know, I do believe that everything that could be given has already been given. It's already here. We just don't see it. Some of us are seeing it, bits and pieces and in and out, and, you know, in this world and that world, back and forth through the door, where we're all experiencing bits and pieces of it, but it should be happening, especially for most of us that, well, anybody listening to us, it should be happening more often, more frequently, I believe. We're almost there, but yeah, you know, from a being raised Christian, uh, in this country, you know, my parents, my grandparents, my great grandparents, all of them believed that they were going to see the second coming in their lifetime. Uh, we're going to see a dramatic change very soon. It's coming. Uh, but it's not going to be what I was taught growing up. It's going to be an amazing thing. We're going to step through that door and all this bullshit's going to be gone. So anyway,
Fucking A to that. No, that's right on. We are the second coming. We are the human hybrid souls. We've been through all these incarnations, and some of us have only been through one or two or three or four or five. And what the hell does it matter? The bottom line is this human hybrid soul is moving into a higher dimension as a collective. And it makes no sense in the linear world that we came from. And it makes no sense to the rational mind. But we're not rational. We're irrational, superstar, soulgasmic brothers and sisters, bringing home this ascension, riding down the apocalyptic promenade. Mother Mystic says the veil's been lifted. Something like that. But you know what? Like I've said many times, we've done 3,500 video productions. We've done 1,600 plus Soul Speaks 5D shows. And the highest transmissions, downloads, channelings, and activations come from just having a conversation. So my next question to this group is, some people have dragons come into their bedroom and Star Family materialize, and their wife turns into a dragon and puts her hand on your chest. That's kind of freaky. And other people just do it organically through the wind and the trees and the plants and the stars. And other people do it like Josh, which is like nothing I can relate to. And then there's Aaron. So there's all this contrast. So let's talk about that for a second. How difficult is it from where you're experiencing this to empathize with those frequencies and energies that are most polar opposite to you?
Well, I try to look at things from multiple perspectives. So the first default I go to is the opposing perspective from mine. And usually by the time I'm done weighing the perspectives and everything, it's more in a what you'd consider a gray area. It took a lot of work for me to reach the point, but I studied people a lot and psychology and everything. So I've found it kind of easy in recent years to be able to relate and rationalize and empathize with other perspectives. But that's because I've done my best to learn how to do that. It's been one of those things I've tried to pay attention to.
I've been messing around with Morgan and Melissa, so I've already forgotten the question. All I know and all I've been over and over and over for several months now, maybe longer than that, maybe a year or so. Love, love, love. There's something major. 51%. That's what I keep being told. 51%. 51%. It's all about love and those things that I'm having a hard time with. Like last night, one of them was forced out, had to deal with it, faced it, dealt with it, done, over with. But you know, I guess the main thing for me, the biggest thing for me, I've been preaching it for about 3 years now. Turn the TV off, turn the news off, turn the politics off, turn all the bullshit off. Don't acknowledge it. Don't give it power through acknowledging it. It's dying a slow death at the moment. Just don't give it any acknowledgement. Leave it alone. Don't look at it, and love. Keep love in your heart, and it's you know, I don't know. I say don't, you know, those that are still struggling with that, you gotta turn away from it. I've made an about face in a way in the last few months. I've been turning around and facing some of these things that I know need to be dealt with. Love it, you know, those things those things of me, I have to embrace, I guess. I give it love, but those things that you see on the TV and, you know, all this other mess, just leave it alone. It don't mean nothing. Doesn't mean nothing. They're just trying to distract us as much as possible. 51%, you know, and we're very close. They're trying their damnedest to keep us from hitting that mark. But anyway, I don't, you know, love is all that matters. Oh.
Right on. So each one of us has a different perspective. Joshua can go first, and then you, Aaron, and then I'll go. What should we be doing right now? No matter who you are, no matter what your perception is, no matter what you think about, are we ascending or we not be ascending, or are we worm dirt, or are we soul, or whatever? What's the best thing we could be doing right now?
Well, like I've said before, creativity, be creative, but also don't ignore the feelings you have and the things you experience. You have to acknowledge that stuff. That's part of the purpose for being here. So acknowledging your experiences and what you're feeling and what you know to be true, that in itself will strengthen all of your abilities and bring you closer into attunement.
Aaron, that was a mic drop. Do you sure you want to go after this? Here you go. What should we be doing right now?
Love. I mean, really and truly, I could just
That's you. That's
love.
My bad.
Uh,
I was trying to be quiet.
Love it. Just love it.
yeah, that's love.
Yeah.
Love.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all
No.
it is. That's what we
I
got.
totally agree with you. I mean, I look at my own situation. I think that's what we might need to do, is start talking about our own situation like you were talking about last night, because that's where the highest activations come from. It's from the experiences that really happened, not somebody telling you do this and this will happen for you, you know, whatever else we come across. So, you know, we can go deep, and I can look at it and I can answer this question. I can say, you know, it makes no sense the life I'm living. What would I recommend to Todd Medina, the human, to do? To love the woman you're with, love the work you're doing, and just keep seeking and staying open to whatever the universe brings. And when it brings the shadows and the bullshit and the grit and the dirt and the grime, embrace it just like you do the light. And the one thing that's different about the dark and the light is when you go to the light, you're going to the light. When you go to the dark, there's a light on the other side of it that's incredible. So, you know, I don't know. That's what I spilled out. What's the next question? Does anybody have a question in the audience?
I don't want anybody to misunderstand either, you know, but there's.
Wait. Hang on. Aaron's got something to say.
Just to make sure there's no misunderstanding. Just so there's no misunderstanding.
There you go. all the way up to you because you haven't said that up. It's put up to your mouth. Okay. It's not that big a deal.
From my standpoint, from my personal experiences, I had to shut things off first. I had to stop giving acknowledgement. I don't know if there's anybody else there that's in that same situation, but for me, I had to gain the peace first. I had to teach myself how not to look at those things and get mad, get angry, want to do something about it. I have a background that not a lot of people here probably have. So I had to shut it off first and calm my heart down and get control of myself. But I have in the last few months, like I said earlier, some of those demons from the past, I've had to turn around, and I call them demons. It's not, it may not, but from my perspective and the way I look at it, I've been facing them. The last few months I've decided it was time to start facing them and start presenting them with that love, start dealing with it from that aspect, because there's been a tremendous amount of things go on in our family and stuff lately. And, it's something that I've had to keep something to not take part in something that would be a negative act. I'm now trying to face and put those things away. Where before I think I was just turning my back on them and leaving them sitting there, but I had to. It's been a step-by-step process. Thing about it, I mean, the ascension I've been knowing and feeling since I was a child that something's different. My great grandmother wrote that there would be something special about my mother's firstborn. And Todd knows who that is. He's sitting right beside me. So
Crazy fucking coon ass.
it's well, yeah, I'm not going to deny that one. But anyway, I just, if there's anybody out there that's where I'm at or where I was, the first thing you might have to do is just shut all that crap off. If we watch TV, if we watch the news, if we're watching all this bullshit, we're giving it acknowledgement, and we don't need to be giving it acknowledgement. Right. For most of us, when we're watching all this crap, there's always those, there's for most of us, there's those moments of anger, even no matter how short they may be, short lived. And then once you gain control of that, then you can turn around and start understanding how and figuring out how to start presenting those things with love. I couldn't. Yeah, it was next to impossible for me. I'd get, especially being a military veteran and a combat veteran. It's my first things I see these bad things taking place. The first thing I want to do is go, my first thought is just naturally, give me a rifle and I'll take care of it. So I had to turn my back on that first. Now I'm finally figuring out how to, and figuring out that it's necessary, that I've got to embrace it, love it, take it in, change it, reform it, reprogram it, you know. But anyway, you know, I don't want to seem to and I know I do a lot. I seem to contradict myself, but anyhow, you know.
No, I think you're kicking ass. And I think that's what it takes for all of us, whether we prove it to anyone else or we prove it to ourselves in the universe, where we go toe to toe with the universe, where no one is there but you. Even if you have a partner, and even if you don't, you're still alone. And you know the alone I'm talking about. It's that same alone when you can be around 20, 30, 40 people and you're still alone. That's our sacred space. And that's the part of us that we would enhance our experience by sharing it. My name's Todd Medina. I've had a hell of a life. I've done things I don't even want to talk about. But I've also come into this collective wave that's happening. And I find myself with the most beautiful creation this fucking universe has ever made in my eyes. And I'm the center of the universe. And we're all the center of the universe, every one of us. And we can choose our path. We are the flow. We are the mainstream motherfuckers, man. I'm telling you, this is real. It's not about Jesus, and God bless him. He is my cosmic father, but not in the way the Western religion might say. It's all lineage code, downloads, channelings, memories, activations. It's all the same thing. And now we have all this knowledge and all this wisdom and love and courage. And we have a choice. We can either get hung up and attached to these things that have awakened us, or we can awaken and actualize this power and this frequency, this ever expanding vibration that we are and that the universe is. Yeah, that's what I think it's all about. I think it's all about seeing yourself as you are, by going through those shadows and facing the parts of you that you don't want to face. And then the glory comes and the shit starts rolling uphill for you, with you, through you, as you. I am soul. Now I'm going to change the music and hand it over to Joshua. Thank you for listening to my outburst.
All right. Yeah.
No, we're gonna increase this frequency. Yeah, that's what we're going. We're going to.
I'm going to excuse myself for a moment.
All right.
Oh God.
Joshua, talk to the people.
Oh God. That's difficult without a topic, honestly. There's so much that could be talked about. I think so. No. Oh goodness. Let's see.
Joshua, give me the mic. Okay, we're gonna have to keep this thing engaged. We have an audience. We got 64 people in the house. Let's say hi to our dear friend Ariana Silverstern. How's it going? Ray Miller, Rebecca Gray, Anna Weberly, our dear friend, Divine Roberts in Sedona. So many of these people we've met in the flesh, you know, and it's been such an incredible experience. Aline and Stavanger, Norway, I'm sorry. Jody Lee's in the house. Norma Hendrick. It's good to see everybody. Cosmo Dancer putting out some good stuff all the time. Leanna Hadziak. People from all over the world, all different countries and everything like that, man. We're building this grid, this human hybrid soul grid, just by having conversations like this and doing this kind of stuff. Look at the numbers going up. It's just people talking about their own experiences. Milana Fiore, what's happening? Aloha, auntie of the island of Kauai. So many people. We're all coming together now. Every one of us. Phoenix is in the house. We met her over in Laguna Beach. Gayatri Singh with the Dragons. Janice Butcher. So many people all coming together, man. This is how it works. It sounds like we're insignificant. It feels like we're insignificant. It feels like you have like 60, 70, 80, 100 people, whatever, you know, on a live. But you know what? This thing is going out through the human holy grid throughout this entire earth. We're all holding hands and pulling this energy up to a higher dimension. The human hybrid soul is going into a higher dimension. It's going into the universal star family. That's the belief I have. And the way I look at it is quantum, right? It's all about quantum mechanics, quantum science, at least the way we can understand it right now. And that is whatever we believe is happening. And this is where we're at. We got 67 people in the house. I'm going to pose a question to Josh. Aaron's back. He's an old man. He had to go to the library for a while. Only people from my generation know what that means. But anyway, so, okay, let's talk about this. So, okay, one of the things that I think blocks a lot of people is, you know, in the old paradigm, hey, God, how can you allow this to happen? Now, I've been in a lot of other dimensions and dimensional states, and I've seen some stuff, and it wasn't always cool. In fact, I thought I suffered on this earth, but no, it was much worse sometimes in those dimensions. But it's all energy. It's all us. And with that in mind, we've come this far, all of us. It's 2020. We're on the cusp of 2020, precipice of 2020, and a new age, or whatever you want to call it. And we still have people not eating, homeless, people being victimized, and so on. So do we just turn our head and say that doesn't exist? That's not my universe and it's going to go away? How do we handle that? I do not have the answer, but I'd love to hear what these two gentlemen have to say. I'm going to go to Josh first. Or you want me to go to Aaron first? Okay.
The biggest part of it I caught was to turn your back on it and not basically pretend it's not there.
Fluffy love and light shit.
You know, the thing about it is that stuff only exists, that those things that we don't like only exist because we see them. Correct?
Yeah.
I mean, if we don't give it acknowledgement, if we don't see it,
Okay.
will it not just go away?
Well, that's my question. So so let me say it this way, and I'll be my smart ass self, because it is Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah, and God, I can't remember the one they do in Africa. Starts with a K, but no disrespect, and all around the world. Okay, so really, I mean, you know, in these light worker circles I've been in for 8 years, 6 years really, because the first 2 years on the street and I had no idea what was happening. I never even heard the word ascension. But my point is, if, you know, there's one school of thought that says, don't look at that. And I'm not making fun of it at all. All right. Because I don't know which way is the right way. And they, it's like, don't look at that. It doesn't exist. It's not in my universe, blah, blah, blah. And do you hold that space? Does it change anything? Does it change only your reality? And is that selfish or is it not? I don't know. It's complex because even though we all know we're fractals, supposedly, because I still haven't bought into this 100%, because I'm here, you're there, and you're there, but if we're all fractals and we're all looking at each other, how can we not want to help a kid that's not eating or someone that's being victimized or whatever the case is? But at the same time, I guess the question I have off of your question is, if we raise our frequency to a certain point, does that, without us being focused on those things that we're talking about, does that actually elevate those, those things, right? Does it make them go away? Or do we have to get jiggy with it and go kick some pedophile's ass or whatever the case is? You know what I mean? I mean, where are we with this? Is it another 0 point?
It's kind of difficult to say. It's because everybody's different and everybody's at a different step. And I believe that these are all just different steps in the process. And then at some point, either in this incarnation or in a previous incarnation, that we have already progressed through some steps. And that's why we're where we are now. But as far as, I mean, yes, we don't need to acknowledge it. We don't need to give it the energy. We need to focus on bettering ourselves, getting ourselves better. Because if you're not in the right place, then any help you try to extend to someone else is not going to come through the right way. In some way, shape, or form, it's going to backfire on one or both of you. So you've got to have yourself in the right place before you can truly help anyone else.
Aaron, well, could we also not be, I mean, I understand, and I don't mean for it to sound selfishness or, that I don't, that's what so many Western Christians tend to have a problem with. They think you're being self-centered and you don't care. But Jesus taught us it was all about us, and it was all inside of us. They can twist the teaching however they want. I mean, I always understood from the youngest age that it's all within. I didn't believe a lot of things as I was being told the way it is. Of course, none of us know truly how it is. I don't think any of us have the whole truth. No matter who you are, nobody on this planet can see the entire picture. But we've got to focus on ourselves first. We've got to make all the corrections that we're supposed to make within us. We can help other people when we're in bad places. No matter whether it's heartfelt or not, we've got to get ourselves out of this mess first as an individual. It's like the ascension, I think, in a lot of ways is individualistic. There's going to be those that see things, that see the world for what it was meant to be before I do. I may see some things, I may see it before others do. I don't I don't know how to explain it, but I know all of us are in a different position. We're all on a different path. We're all, this very moment, all of us are in a different spot. Not physically, not just physically, but spiritually also. Uh, anyway, I'm gonna pass it off. I'm not there yet.
It's a talking stick. That way we know who needs to talk when they need to talk. And sometimes they hand you the walking stick and you don't want to talk. Then you got to talk. So I think this is some good stuff right here, man. You know, in a debate. Well, we're not fighting anymore. We're moving out of that toxic relationship kind of energy. We're moving into a space where there is no adversary. There's no opponent, man. And this is something even the higher dimensions are learning from us because we're doing it at the ground level, at the gut level. I am soul. And soul is the bridge from the lower dimensions, if you want to say it that way, to the higher dimensions. But it is the center of the universe right now. Why are almost 8 billion people alive in this world and their souls lining up to come here? Why? Because the contrasts are so intense, the polarities are so extreme. It gives us an opportunity to find that 0 point and set a standard. We're representing the universe, man. That's right. Just me, Joshua, Aaron, and DJ motherfucking Screw. H-Town, Houston, Texas. Yeah, that street's coming out in me now. But you know what? We all got to be who we are. We don't need to hide who we are. We don't need to act like we don't, you know, we don't have to feel bad about the things we do or what we have to do or what we want to do or what we need to do. We're all on our own trip, and it's the same trip. And that's what makes it so interesting because everybody has their own perspective, but somewhere in every one of those perspectives, there's a common thread. And that thread is the I am soul, what I call the I am soul, where we know we're eternal, where we know we don't know anything, where we know we're nothing. And with that, we gain everything. And that's what we're doing. And we're doing it in a physicality, which I don't think that's ever been done before. We've had a lot of channelers, transmitters, downloaders come into Soulogy and talk about the things they're receiving. And many of them talk about how souls are lined up to come here. We're valiant souls to be here. We put our hands up first, but we're also chosen and anointed because we did the work before we ever came here. This is a special time. Don't forget that. Don't fall into, the 3D, the ego, and all that stuff telling you that we're lesser than we are. We've been controlled by lesser gods, but now we're turning the table. So we're going to have mercy and unconditional love on their souls. All right, Joshua. What's the next question? So people that are going through stuff like, extreme physical, what they call ascension symptoms, emotional, mental, Kundalini experiences, visitations, whatever. All these things that make us feel weird and out of place, and we want to get the hell out of here. What advice do you have for them?
Well, when you get put outside your comfort zone, it's a chance to expand, to open your mind more and expand your understanding, to be able to see from different perspectives. So let's embrace those experiences. Even if it seems bad, the experience is for a reason, and it may seem bad at the moment, but overall in the grand aspect of things, it is good. And that's one of the divisions that needs to be removed from our perspectives. It's the division between good and evil and light and dark. But I mean, if you're struggling with those things, it's just know that it's not bad. It's there to help you grow, to give you the opportunity to grow, and sometimes to make you grow.
Tell Cosmo that we're getting ready to start over again. Take the mic. Cosmo, can we just start over again already? I laughed at that one because that's how I feel. But that's coming from the linear. Little impatience on both our parts. It's just a blink of an eye. It's coming quick. It really is. We're seeing so many changes already. I finally got my phone freed up, so I'm sitting here looking at comments. I can't type fast enough when I'm watching Todd's lives, I'd like to comment and stuff and communicate with a lot of you more than what I do. Let's see. I'm always uncomfortable. What prompted that comment? Marcy.
We'll go back to that one about so the one thing I respect about the Christian religion, like I do all religions, no, I don't need to. But what I was going to say is go back to that comment you said earlier about what one of the people had said about, can we start over? And one of the things I respect about the Christian religion is born again. But I don't mean born again, like go down, get baptized and all that, and, praise Jesus and all that stuff. And again, Yeshua is my cosmic father as far as I'm concerned. What I'm saying is we can turn the page at any time. We can be born again at any time. And as a person who was raised in fundamental Christianity, does that ring a bell with you? Does that resonate with you?
Well, it does. We've sat out here and talked just between you and me too many times. The thing about it is a starting over. That's where Todd went back to. I've started over I don't know how many times in this life. But it's going to be it's a strange thing. I don't know how to explain it. On an individual from an individual standpoint, we're all stepping through that threshold at different points in time. Some of y'all see things that I don't see. I may see things that others don't see. I may be completely wrong. I don't think this earth is going to be destroyed. I don't think we're all going to be wiped out. I believe we're going to somehow or another, these dimensions are going to be able to exist in the same, right here on this planet. There's going to be those of us that are going to see things that others simply don't see. There's going to be those that go crazy. Jesus mentioned that himself. Of course, I'm a big reader of the Gnostic books, but I think that, Jesus himself lived within the world. He lived in this world, but he lived above the world at the same time. I don't know. He didn't see what his apostles saw. He didn't see what those other people around him saw. Go ahead.
Let's talk on that for a minute. So, let's see here. Rebecca Gray, thank you for your comment. I've seen the crucifixion as Mary. It's human compassion. So many lack that is the problem. I embodied Mary. That's what I was trying to say. All right. And the reason And I saw a couple other comments before that. And it brought to mind these experiences that we have individually. We have these experiences, and I've probably read or spoke to 20 people, you know, probably 10 I spoke to, 10 I read about, where they had the same type of experience. And that's a consciousness. That's coding. That's opening something in the individual. We got to remember these downloads and transmissions and channelings that we get and these activations that we get, they're first and foremost meant for ourselves. There is some parallel, there is some congruence. As the individual goes, so goes the collective. Some people receive things at a certain time. Some people receive things at other times. There is no linear. As my friend Joshua Pearson said, magic doesn't know time. So it doesn't matter when it happens. It doesn't matter who spoke to you. It doesn't matter what essence you're communing with. It's all the same thing. And the point is to bring us back to a point of awareness where we know that we're actually gods and goddesses, but that have evolved to a point where we're actually in a human body, in a physical matter incarnation. Yeah. And it may seem like a heavy burden, but burdens are blessings and blessings are burdens. And we're here to do something that both of these people just talked about, one generation apart. Well, maybe light years apart. But they both said the same thing. We're in a place right now where we're actually going to, it's not about we can, we are going to, we are part of a team, part of a consciousness that's actually going to merge the physical and the non-physical. Supernatural feats will be an everyday event. This is where we're at. And the crazy thing, the paradoxical thing about it, is it comes through by having a conversation. By saying, hey, I'm Josh. This is my life as a human. And this is what I'm pulling in. Not one or the other, but both. And the most important part is hashtag the human is a hero is a human experience. We can't deny that experience anymore. Okay, Josh. One more question. What?
What she was talking about, I don't know, but she made a comment. I just ain't. Right there on top of my list. I just ain't.
Yeah, I just am. Yeah,
Huh?
I just am. Yeah. Right on.
And
That's it.
I mean, that is it.
It is. It sounds like a cliche, but how do you actually be that? And I think we do that, and we're all pulling down different parts of the multiverses and channeling downloads and transmissions. But the key, the final piece of the puzzle is the human. Josh, you're about as human as no one I've ever met. You're total ET. So Josh as a human aspect, how do you feel that? How does this stuff feel when you go through the human stuff, the 3D stuff? How do you deal with that stuff? How do you confront your shadows? How do you deal with the stuff you don't want to deal with? You know, because I think we can all relate to the fact that we have all this higher understanding and we have to go into the 3D world and deal with the 3D stuff and all that stuff. How do you do it?
Well, it was. I'm at the beginning. I pushed it away, ran from it, turned away from it, but it wasn't. I didn't start seeing progress with it until I started to embrace it, understand it, and accept it. Like, that's And that seems counterintuitive with all the negative and the dark, but it doesn't matter if you push it away or try to hold it down or whatever. It's gonna come out eventually. If it's there for a reason. And you can't, I mean, you can ignore it for a period of time, but that time should be used to get yourself prepared for confronting it and preparing yourself to accept it. And I struggled with that for a long time. And that struggle took me down a dark path. But it's, I don't know, there's really not a whole lot I can say about it because I struggled with it for a long time too. And it's just something that you can get better at as you figure it out, your own personal methods. But you I've found embracing it, accepting it works pretty good as long as I'm in the right mindset.
So we had a comment about PTSD, and I think that's something a lot of people can relate to. I know Aaron can, I can. I have a feeling Josh can, but this is ground level intel. Aaron, Aaron, PTSD. We don't have to talk about the stories. And I can say this, that I've met two other people, three that I know personally that have even a reason to have PTSD. I had it, and I hated that shit. But you four people that I'm thinking of had things happen that was much worse than anything that happened to me. So how are you, not did you, because I know you, how do you continue to alleviate and diminish the impact of PTSD in your life? Man, how'd you get there?
My wife. My wife.
All right. Go.
I've been
That's perfect.
married 29 years in June, this coming June. It'll be 29 years. There's not another woman that could have dealt with the shit that she had to deal with. For me, I had to, it's like I was saying earlier, I had to turn my back on those triggers. I had to not give them acknowledgement. That was my starting point. But over the last 3 months, that, and I'm gonna, it's a demon negative aspect of me. I've been confronting it head on, face to face, and I beat it because, I couldn't play a violent video game. Anything that had death involved in it, I couldn't touch. I couldn't watch. I couldn't anything with it. I couldn't watch movies. I couldn't watch anything because those things would trigger me in a bad way. And then my wife sit with me and we started binge watching movies. I made up my mind. I turned one on one night. My wife asked me what I was doing. I told her. And that in itself, that's what I used that was a tool for me. It's now this is just for me. This is what I decided I had to do. I don't know about others. I don't know. But for me, uh, it's I mean it was a tough thing. It was but I had an experience about 3 years ago that set me back. I thought I had these things beat, and it set me back, and I've been trying to get myself back to where I was, and I think it's made me stronger. That experience did, and it gave me the strength to deal with this other issue, and PTSD is a tough thing. Uh, but it just like anything else does not have to exist. We have to step into ourselves, seize that moment, take those things, grab it by the horns, uh, and go with it. uh, I don't know.
He does know. It's time to come out. It's time for all of us to come out. No matter what you perceive yourself as, how weird you might be, how small you might be, we're all coming home now. We can accelerate and expand this experience by virtue of our own actualization of what we know, of who we are, what we're a part of. We are soul. We're an ever expanding vibration that is a mirror of the universe in this realm, this fishbowl of a realm in the multiverses where everything was upside down. What was up was down, right was wrong, dark was light, square was a circle, and all that other stuff. We're coming into our own now. And we do this by having conversations like this. So pick up your phone, turn on the video, turn on the camera, and just let it roll.
Morgan stole a speaker from you.
Yeah. I think we need to get Morgan Lee over here just to say hi to everybody. Morgan, you need to come over here. Come over here and say hi to everybody so everybody can see the face behind all the productions at SoulogyOneStudios. Come on. Come on. Come on over here. Yeah. Yeah, you have to say hi. You have to see the brains behind Soulogy. Before we sign off, we're going to give Joshua and Aaron a chance to say whatever they have to say. Morgan, come on. You just got to say hi real quick. That's all. What? They just saw her ass. She just showed me her ass. That's Soulogy for you. But you know what, man? If you're feeling down, if you're feeling tired, depressed, whatever, and all that other stuff that comes in, physically exhausted and all that, hang on. You got to put your head way over here. Way over here. Morgan Lee. Here you go. Over here. See your face?
No, I can't. I can't see anything.
Do you have a message for everybody on these middle of these happy holidays, Hanukkah and Merry Christmas and all that stuff and all whatever? Okay, Morgan.
He joined me.
Yeah. Here we go. Morgan, put your head over here. In the middle of the circle.
In the middle of the circle. Merry Christmas to everyone. Thank you so much for being here with us all. Soulogy is not us, but all of you. Soulogy is all of us. I love that these beautiful men came on here tonight and spoke their pure truth. I can't believe I just got tricked into coming on here. That's my message. That's it.
Pamela and Melissa, can you come say hi to everybody before we sign off, please? It just take a second. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Thank you, Joshua and Aaron and Nixie. Can everybody see Nixie? Can you put her up here, please, so they can see Nixie? Pamela Pearson. This woman is a fucking rock, man. That's all I got to say. Pamela, do you have anything to say to all of our friends, brothers and sisters?
Christmas. Merry Christmas.
And Melissa Chapman.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Melissa's been a really big supporter of us, as has Aaron and Pamela of Soulogy. We came here 2.5 years ago, and I spent 5 weeks in a boot camp doing shadow work at the behest of this galactic creature that had entered my life, and I didn't know what the hell it meant, but I did it. And we came to Arkansas, and we had the first Soulogy live production in a place. It was a metaphysical center, in the courtyard. Anyway, bottom line is Aaron, Pamela, and Melissa got behind Soulogy at that time, and with their love, support, and contributions, and here we are 4 years later. So peace out, everybody. Everybody say good night.
Good night.
Good night. Night.
Good night.
Good night.
That means you too, homeboy.
Messages, visitation hours in heaven. Look me up on Facebook. Send me a message.
If you guys understood what he was saying, you're better than me. Good night.
There we go.